Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know that the speaker before lunch and the speaker after lunch have very tough competition, and so I'm mindful of that, and my talk will certainly be brief, and I will be respectful of the timelines. And in fact, just to highlight that the substance of my message will be delivered mainly through a DVD, which I will just briefly try to contextualize. Building on the analogy that previous speakers have created, it always amazes me when I open up Google, and particularly Google Scholar, and they talk about building on the shoulders of the giants. And I think the analogy that Professor Laertes left us with about climbing on the backs and looking into the future made me think that certainly my role today is to build on the same shoulders of the giants who have preceded me in terms of this PhD project. So I'd like to acknowledge Leila, Eric, Laertes for the wonderful context that they've given for the particular message that I can perhaps provide and add to. It is my pleasure today to represent Dr. Anshu Padiachi, who is the CEO of both SANPAD, as you've heard, but also the sustainability program of SANPAD, which is SANTrust. SANTrust is, just to clarify some definitions, it's the sustainable legal entity, which is an NGO operating through a trust, and it hosts various programs, including the Dutch-funded SANPAD program, as well as a host of other programs that are both funded and commissioned. Under the auspices of SANPAD and sustained by SANTrust, candidates who have completed their masters and are registered for a PhD or doctorate, through selection through their university's commissioned programs or selected by a funded program, would, if they were part of the SANTrust portfolio, be able to enter a modularized program, which you see depicted on the screen in front of you. Those module programs take them through a journey, which we've heard a lot about today, which would be the doctoral journey. The modules introduce candidates to the leap between master's and doctoral study, the role of theory, the importance and range of design and methods, data analysis, as well as those important areas that many of my co-presenters have spoken about. The concept of doctorateness, what is achieved through reading, through scholarly debate, as well as role modeling, what scholarship is all about, critical thinking and discourse that so characterizes the role of academia. Each candidate on our program begins with a raw research idea, and hopefully it gets converted into what Eric has said, what's your problem? That raw research idea gets shaped through the agency of the candidate on the program, but more importantly, through peer learning. And I think for us, the message that we want to bring today is the strength of the cohort model of learning, which I will speak in more detail about, and which our DVD will depict. Through a facilitated program working with national and international experts of scholarship, that candidate shapes that raw research idea into a doctoral proposal that is defended in front of assessors. Candidates thus emerge from what is a formative process with a polished doctoral proposal, as well as the capacity to navigate all the main stages of the dissertation proper. And this obviously creates a much stronger process for the entire doctoral journey, and which often allows the doctorate candidate to claim a lot of self-independence and really have the supervisor there in a coaching and mentoring guise, as opposed to really putting in a lot of substantive inputs in terms of the journey. So part of the output of our program is to create a more independent space, or a space that is driven by the agency of the candidate, as opposed to a reliance on the supervisor. In terms of outputs, you'll hear more of that in terms of the DVD, but SANPAD has facilitated the development of research capacity since 1997 and has actually worked with an impressive number of doctoral candidates who have achieved this good research proposal that we heard Eric speak about earlier. They've gone on to graduate with a doctoral dissertation proper, using the strong foundation that they achieved through their supervisors, but also through the process that they went through under the SANPAD-SANTRUST pre-doctoral research capacity building program. The candidates have been mainly from South Africa, but since 1998, SANPAD has worked with candidates and supervisors from Tanzania, Mozambique, and Zambia, and therefore we've extended continental cooperation in terms of strengthening African research capacity. On the basis of this internationally benchmarked, tried and tested approach of building doctoral capacity at proposal and research stages, SANTRUST has expanded to niche areas that are as far as the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, where we work with, through professional development, through doctoral proposal, for some 300 of the university leaders and middle management across 23 universities of Ethiopia. SANTRUST has also gone as deep as having a dedicated program that is bespoke and discipline-specific, the PhD Proposal Development Program for Nursing Sciences. Obviously, as we've heard from the introduction and from your program, that latter has a special focus in terms of my coverage of it today, in that it demonstrates partnerships around Project PhD. Both nursing stakeholders and the National Research Foundation, our host of today and whom we'd like to appreciate for this invitation, identified nursing sciences as a vulnerable science. They tabled their concern at both government and academic levels. Then they supported the NRF, the development of a nursing research strategy at national level in 2011, which has then been seen as the documented baseline against which nursing research may be both enhanced and appreciated. The National Research Strategy for Nursing Scientists identified 3 core scaffolding sub-projects: building a research culture in nursing, building nursing research capacity, and building research programs across the country around nursing sciences. Under Strategy 2, if you go and refer to the document, SANTRUST is actually written into the document as being a partner that would be able to improve the PhD preparation of both staff and students through a structured PhD preparation program to promote progress and throughput. In the light of this, SANTRUST responded to this call to look at this vulnerable science. We commissioned a rapid response study to ascertain our approach, to ascertain the needs and the state of engagement within South Africa's nursing faculties and schools. And using these multiple prongs of intelligence, SANTRUST approached development partners and secured seed funding through Irish Aid to partner with the NRF so as to offer the PhD Proposal Development Program for Nursing Sciences, which is currently underway and is about to be sustained on the back of the successful pilot. A sample of candidates' responses thus far show that SANTRUST is going some way towards achieving the vision of the strategy that I mentioned. And I quote from the various candidates. I don't have the interesting and attractive pictures, but perhaps I can depict some word pictures that our candidates have responded about the PhD Proposal Program for Nursing Sciences, and write in-depth, covering extensive literature. Before the course, I was very confused about my topic. Now I have direction and understanding. I can navigate my way through the maze of literature, theory, and methodology. This was an excellently presented module. Both facilitators were passionate and patient. I wish I'd had this at master's level. Another one, module's outstanding feature was the application of knowledge, the hands-on participation with facilitators, most importantly, clarifying issues and clarifying my reasoning. My group engagement with peers was very fruitful, bringing challenging, constructive criticism and sharing ideas. And then finally, the inclusion of the health system management and monitoring and evaluation was indeed very relevant and highly informative. Being given sources to use for literature review was appreciated. The facilitators were both accommodative and flexible to the individual needs and the learning pace of the scholars. So the National Research Foundation, as a partner, is following the progress of this model of the SANTRUST program very closely, with a view to building longitudinal multiplier effects through applications for its Tatuka program, with a still further vision to welcome these PhD proposals when they become successful doctorates to enter into the postdoctoral program of the NRF. This would indeed have demonstrated significant impact on nursing sciences as a vital discipline that has been grown through a focused, partnered strategy. So again, we appreciate the opportunity that the NRF has provided through this program and the profiling of it today. And in the good scholarly habit of providing evidence for the work of SANTRUST, I'm really proud to present a short DVD that will allow you to see for yourself and to explore the SANTRUST model further. And here I'm going to call on the technical expertise of a chairperson who will be able to load the DVD. Candidates meet as strangers on the SANTRUST program, coming from universities across South Africa and even Africa, and they leave the program as friends, collaborators. They form lasting networks which allow them to support each other through the doctorate proper, to publish together, and even to do joint proposal writing and research projects. At the end of the first nursing sciences module, one of the cohort recorded, "A PhD is now no longer a lonely and isolated journey." I would like to thank you for your attention and would like to conclude by reiterating the words of one of our partners from India, from the Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai, who spoke about SANPAD and SANTRUST looking like a small entity, but having the potential to be a game changer. In the spirit of scholarship, which we've heard a lot about, in the spirit of the Olympic Games, which we've also heard about, both the current and the recent Olympic Games, SANTRUST wishes you well with your own game-changing decisions around your PhD studies and your collaborations for both South Africa and Africa. So I thank you.